to another Shearer Smokes, and today you find me here in Torwood, just outside Larbert, near Falkirk, and we're going in search of the Tappoch Broch. So we're entering into these woods here, and we'll catch up with the video after. Well, here we are. You join me in the Broch itself, Norwood Broch, or Tappoch Broch as it's known, and we're situated just in between Stirling and Falkirk. The Broch itself dates back to the Iron Age. There was an excavation done in 1864. Nothing much was found though, a few bits of pottery. Interestingly, they found some stone spheres, sort of ball shaped, which would, they think, denote that the family was of high standing, or at least wealthy in some way. It would have been a large family that lived here. Studies of other brochs further north, which are more complete, tell us that they were built probably to the height of about 10 metres, with different levels and of course different rooms, which is quite astounding. I mean, you can see here the stones are just laid on top of each other, no mortar, and these stones were quarried from this area and used to build here. Interestingly, there's a Roman road, or remains of a Roman road, about 200 metres west, and during the excavation there was no Roman artefacts found, which implies that either the Romans didn't realise this was here, as this would have been heavily forested, this area, or they just didn't think it would have been of any benefit to them to have this, and just marched on. We all know, of course, of Hadrian's Wall, but the Romans also built a wall further north at Falkirk called the Antonine Wall, and a huge garrison was based there. So quite interesting that they kind of just bypassed this whole area. There is a castle further down. It dates back to the 1600s. I shall visit that another time and do a little video, I think. It'd be quite interesting. But here today we're in the Broch, and yeah, it's just, honestly, it's like stepping back in time, even with the weather being a bit damp as it is. I'll just give you a quick look of what I'm looking at, and it gives you an idea. So that's us looking out into the centre of the Broch. And if you look at the wall, you can just see that curve, and quite ingenious how they built that. As I said, just stone on stone, no mortar. Excuse my hands there. So yeah, so I'm quite glad I took the chance to come and see it today. I just finished work and I don't have much time off, so I thought I'll just go for it. And yeah, it's been a bit damp, but it's okay, it's fine. And the birds are still singing in the trees, which has been quite nice. So yeah, so Tappoch Broch, if you type that into YouTube, there's a couple other little websites that will bring up some more information about the place itself and the whole history of Brochs, which is quite interesting. But yeah, there is a definite feeling when you sit amongst these stones. It is like going back in time and with the ancients almost. It's almost like if you're into your Lord of the Rings, this is definitely the type of place where Gandalf and the gang would have set camp. They've lit a fire, probably had a pipe or two, and then set off the next morning on their adventure. That's the kind of vibe that you get from sitting here amongst these stones. So yeah, it's definitely something special, this place. But from the Iron Age, we fast forward to present times. And I brought with me today my trusty cob. I bought this one from the Danish pipe shop, and I just love the finish on it. And the size of the bowl is just perfect. And for what's in the bowl, well, this is my first time trying the Bothy Flake, Samuel Gawith. As I said, first time trying it, but again, I just liked the sound of the name, and when I read a bit more into it, I thought, yeah, this is definitely worth giving it a try. Then I started thinking, where would be nice to smoke it? Now, if I was to smoke it in an actual bothy, that's going to take a couple of days to get, because they are based in, up in the mountains of Scotland. There's about 40 dotted around, and basically they're there for shelter for the hikers and hill walkers, climbers, for when the weather turns, as it most likely does. And so they're there as a form of shelter, and in those bothies you can light a fire, you can cook. There is a tradition of food and drink being left there, and it's a kind of unwritten rule that you replenish that before you leave, so it's there for the next lot of hikers that are looking for shelter. And it has saved, there's many accounts of it saving lives, when the weather's turned for the worse, and they're stuck on the hill, and they come across a bothy, and they've managed to camp there overnight or for whatever until the weather's cleared, and managed to then walk off down the hill. So yeah, it would have been nice to have the Bothy Flake in a bothy, but not really practical for me. But this was the next best thing, and when it came to my mind, I thought it'd be perfect. The weather's kind of let me down a little bit, but it's fine. It's not too bad. So yeah, the Bothy Flake. So now I don't know if this is pure psychological, because when you think of the name Bothy and what it invokes, when I opened the tin, the immediate thought I got was campfire, because there is a very strong smoky, peaty aroma that comes from the tin, and that's the first thing that came into mind, was sitting around a fire in a bothy type place, enjoying a pipe. Now it comes pressed, Virginia, and it says on the tin a hint of Lackatia. It also has an essence of Highland Scotch whisky, which that comes through the tin as well. I'm not a great whisky drinker, but it is definitely there. And as for the actual flavour that comes through, it's actually quite mellow. I thought it was going to be a lot stronger, but yeah, it's nice and mellow. It's quite nice. There is that kind of peaty, sounds strange to say, but smoky flavour coming through. Those that have smoked it before, be great to hear your comments on that. If you maybe picked up some different notes, it's always interesting to hear someone else's point of view. At the back, there is that really nice smoky sensation and that whisky coming through. As I said, I'm not a great whisky expert, but there is that definite kind of Highland whisky peatiness coming through. So yeah, I think I've actually picked a really good spot for a bit of the old Bothy Flake. I'm glad I was able to share it with you. Again, I'd like to thank my new subscribers. It's always nice to see people joining in, and some really nice comments as well, which is really good. Yeah, it's just great to share some of these locations and obviously my thoughts on what I'm smoking at the time, which is the kind of thing that I'm aiming for with these videos. So I'm just going to sit here for another little while before it gets too heavy, enjoy what's left in the bowl. But yeah, so this has been Tappoch Broch at Norwood Broch. Hope you enjoyed a little insight into the Iron Age up here in Scotland, and until my next little adventure, my name's Shearer. Enjoy your smokes.